Takes one good book boyfriend for me to be sad. 19 of them? I'm on the floor. Do your worst. Whatever you say, sir. I have no AC. I'm breaking out. My hair is fuzzy. But you know what I do have? I have book boyfriends. So even though I'm sweating like crazy right now, we are going to talk my favorite topic, and that is book men. A lot of you might already know where my heart lies, but you don't know that my heart is split amongst a ton of people because I'm a hoe for book men. Let me tell you, these men, every waking thought with them. I remember every single one of them. I will give you a fair warning though that before making this video, I was looking at my book list. I am somebody who tends to forget why I fall in love with these bookmen, and I rearranged it rapidly for absolutely no reason, because after I finish a book, I'm just like, you know what? This one's better. Don't take the order too seriously, because probably tomorrow I will be rearranging again when I meet somebody new, because I can't help myself. If he blinks, I'm just like, number one! No, number one is reserved. We have to have my book boyfriend shirt right here. We have my powerless shirt with Kai Azar quotes on it. Peyton Gray quotes on it too, but Kai Azar quotes on it. We're gonna get cooking. I'm gonna go up my book boyfriend list. And you can tell by the way I use my walk, I'm a woman's man, no time to talk. Yeah, I don't even have 20, guys, come on. We're gonna start with 19, and it's Eris Van Serra from Akatar. He is at the bottom because I see so much potential in that man, but technically we only got him kindly for the last book that we have of Akatar so far. It is open-ended though, so I know that man is gonna come back. I have hopes for him because I feel like he is a womanizer. I feel like he's gonna womanize me. I have quotes for each of our book boyfriends. We don't have a lot from him, please. Just know, it's based on vibes. He's 19 based on vibes. I'm weak. Whatever you want, I'll give it to you in exchange for her as my bride. Hear me out. He said this after one dance with the girl. I know it's possessive. I know it's possessive. Take me as your bride. Number 18, we have Reed of Murray, which is from Serpent and the Wolf, one of my favorite, like, smaller author stories by Rebecca Robinson. He begged her. He said, sleep in the bed tonight. It's an arranged marriage, so he... And then we have, and say it for me, wild one. Say it for me, and that will be enough. This is the most relaxed of them. This is the least of what is about to happen in this video. Oh man, Reed is a husband, let me tell you. Mind you, I'm gonna go more in depth as I go up the list because my love only grows. Cassian from Akatar, number 17. I had him higher before, but then upon looking at stuff from Silver Flames, I realized he's somebody that I would date in real life because I love me my funny guys, and he's hilarious and he is good looking. But not my book boyfriend criteria per se, but he's still there because he's quite good looking. For Cassian, we have... It's gonna be a giggle fest, isn't it? We don't bite unless you ask us to. Can I ask you to? We have another one that I actually didn't put on here. Hands on the headboard! He ate with that one. And then we have a sweet one. We're not just gonna go all frisky with it. I have no regrets in my life but this, that we did not have time, that I did not have time with you. I will find you in the next world, the next life, and we will have that time, I promise. I love me some sad boy quotes, let me tell you. Cassian, baby. Cassian. These, they're so good. They are all so good. Up the list, we have K.L. Westfall. Another one of my would date in real life. Not very book boyfriend-y, but I have such a soft spot for this man. He is from Throne of Glass. He gets a lot of hate. Not in this household. I have such a soft spot for his love story. Just for him as a human character in the world. And it's just like, I wouldn't put him at the top. I really wouldn't. But like, my heart is like, this is like my baby. He is baby boy. He is baby boy. We have, I worry because I care. God's help me. I know I shouldn't, but I do. So I will always tell you to be careful because I will always care what happens. He's so baby boy. He's so baby. He's so baby. This one doesn't hit as hard in a romantic sense, but I just love him as like, just as a character that I'm just like, I would kiss his cheek right here. I kiss his nose. If you've read Throne of Glass, you know. He looked at his friend, perhaps for the last time, and said what he had always known from the moment they'd met, when he'd understood that the prince was his brother in soul. I love you. I did cry when I found that quote this morning. Bromance, like, it's not even like a bromance, like, you know, it's like, it's like in the soul. Like his love for his best friend makes me sob and it makes me want to kiss his forehead now. 15, Kenji Kishimoto from Shatter Me. This man is this man. Just if you haven't noticed, like the bottom of my list is just like the sweet, the funny boys. One quote for Kenji. And this is a quote that I know by memory, okay? It's always, shut up, Kenji. Go to sleep, Kenji. No one wants to see you naked, Kenji. When I know for a fact there are thousands of people who want to see me naked. He is so funny. I love Kenji so. He is so baby girl. He's so funny. He's not wrong. One of those thousand. Also, his best friendship is just like the best friendship. Like, I love my bromances, and these bottom guys got that bromance. Probably stronger than their romances. Definitely stronger than their romances, but they got that bromance though. Or friendship. They got that friendship. Zayn Meadows from Haunting Adeline? Hear me out. Okay, I'm a little sick in the head. I really am. I don't recommend this for you at all. I don't want you to base me as a person based off of this choice. Don't read the book. And if you do, please read your trigger warnings, because this is not for the weak. This is for the sick people. Really good spice, though. I have one quote for him, because I can't bring myself to keep talking about him in front of everyone. Zayn Meadows, let me know which stars you prefer. The ones above you or the ones I make you see. Sorry. Okay. Moving on real fast, we have Maxon Shreve from the selection. He was my first love, my juvenile childhood love. Maxon was the man. So the selection, if you don't know it, it is one bachelor and a ton of women trying to marry the prince, Maxon. And Maxon. I'm remembering things from the. I have to reread that series so bad. It is one of my favorite YA series ever. And after seeing quotes, oh my god. I was in a letter to her. Break my heart, break it 1,000 times if you like. It was only ever yours to break anyways. If you like Kai Azar, I'm telling you guys, you are going to love Maxon. The only problem is he is split amongst a lot of women, which is, it hurt my little young soul. It really did, but he makes the right choice. He always makes the right choice, and I love him so much. My little baby. Sorry. He has my heart. I need to reread that series so bad in adulthood. Oh, Maxon. Okay. We have Roman Kit from Divine Rivals. The bottom of my list is a lot of sweet boys, if you haven't noticed. And Roman Kit is the essence of sweet boy. Like, crawl to her if he couldn't walk, but very polite crawl. Like, I want to kiss his cheek. All of these on the cheek. Some of them more. Roman Kit, on the cheek. He is such a sweetheart. And he would take care of me. He would. Roman Kit write letters to her, so it's a lot of letters, but they're just like conversations. So he didn't want to live in a world without her and her words. And then he says, you may not be a goddess, but nor am I a god. Despite our mundane lives, perhaps we can make our own magic with words. If you have not read Divine Rivals, Divine Rivals is such a sweet story, has such good fantasy elements to it. They're writing letters to each other and they don't really know who the other is. It's complicated. And it's just so romantic, and they work together and they're enemies in real life, in their job. And they are so baby girl. They're so wow. And they find their way back to each other every single time. And the letters. Oh, it was such a sweet story. It is so good. I'm not one for very sweet stories, no crying, but this was sweet story, no crying, give me butterflies. We're getting a little darker. So right now we just went from our very white area with Zayn Meadows just pitch black in there. Ignore him. He's a little lapse in judgment. Now we're getting to our little grayer guys. We have Emmett DeVere, which is from, why did I say it like that? Emmett DeVere, which is from The Rose Bargain, one of my favorite reads of 2025. In the story, the main character has to go after his brother. So we have Emmett DeVere, the prince, and then his brother Bran. And our main girl is going after Prince Bran so she could become a princess. But Emmett DeVere is such a nice side guy. He is, wow, he made me at the end of that book, because he is just so, he's like one of those guys that's been through so much, and then suddenly he sees something that gives him some type of hope, and then the hope keeps getting torn away from him, and he doesn't understand why he trusts anybody, and he's just so, he's sworn off of loving, but he loves her, and just, he's that guy. He really is. And he said, I'm gonna cry. Mind you, only one book is out, and it's only a duology, so I'm not ready for that to be over, but I also am ready for book 2 to come here, because I arc read The Rose Bargain, and yeah, Read it too fast. Read it in a day, please God. He said, I grew up without a family, in drafty palace rooms, with nothing but a governess, a tutor, and a battalion of toy soldiers for company. I've spent my whole life on my hands and knees, clamoring for crumbs of love. I don't know if there will ever come a time where I'm not hungry for it. That's how I feel. I'm recording. Get to your car! I did that. I swear it. I will not resent you for it, but I'll say it just once. I would have loved you. I would have loved you so well. I think it was always going to be you for me. The ending of that book was so good! Another recommendation for your list, The Rose Bargain. I don't really like recommending things that are not done, but The Rose Bargain was so good. It ended in such a cliffhanger, but the whole story was just enough to keep me going by. He was enough to keep me going by. I miss him. Joey Lynch from the Boys of Tommen series, Saving and Redeeming 6. I've just met this man. I have. I'm not a contemporary romance girl. I like my fantasy guys very much so, or my dystopian guys, or my princes, and all of that, but he's just a guy. He plays sports, and he goes to high school. Whatever they call it, third years in Ireland. He makes me really sad. He is an addict. Do not recommend, but he makes me really sad, and his relationship is so good. And he is so good, but he struggles so much, and I love it when I'm reading about a book boyfriend who is in shambles, because then I get to be in shambles with him, and I love feeling sorry for my bookman. And I felt so sorry for him. I love him. He deserves so much better. I just finished the book. I'm sad. I love him. I love him. Tell them I was sorry. Tell them I love them. Tell yourself that I loved you most. If you don't understand the context of that, you're lucky. You're lucky, because holy shit. This is a conversation he had. So he got asked, are you going to marry her? He said, if that's what she wants. What do you want? Her. Just her. This man, through everything that he went through every relapse, even when he was just like practically blacked out in the worst of situations, all he could think about was her. Since this is more like real life-ish, there were multiple times where they would speculate that he would be with somebody else when he was inebriated. The one thing he knew, even though he knew nothing in the entire world, nothing that happened, he was blacked out, the one thing he knew is that he would never be with anybody that isn't her. That was a sad love story. That was a good love story. Read Boys of Tommen. I don't like contemporary romance, but I like the Boys of Tommen. Now we're getting to the girly pops that you know. Number 9, Xaden Ryerson. Yes, he is 9. Don't hate me. Has nothing to do with the man. Don't hate me. Xaden Ryerson from Fourth Wing. The reason he's not higher is because Rhysand is higher, and they are a level of copy-paste. And that's fine. That's fine, because I love repeated tropes. I'm an easy woman to please. Shall I share one quote that I know from memory? My house, my chair, my woman sat on that chair. That's what I'm saying. That's all. That quote lives rent-free in my brain. Oh my god. And in Onyx Storm, his jealousy and anger, and I love a jealous, angry bookman, just was shining, and he was shining. But we're gonna get sweet with it. We have to get sweet with it. I love you. I'm in love with you. I have been since the night the snow fell in your hair and you kissed me for the first time. I'm grateful my life is tied to yours, because it means I won't have to face a day without you in it. My heart only beats as long as yours does, and when you die, I'll meet Malik at your side. Maybe I'll bump him up. I'm weak! Do I have to explain it more? Like, it's Xaden motherfucking Ryerson. Like, that's Xaden Ryerson. Do I have to explain it more? He has tattoos. That's not a criteria for a man. It's my criteria. Okay, this one, I have little to nothing to say about it because I did add it 10 minutes ago. Number 8, Draco Malfoy from Harry Potter. Hear me out, okay? I don't know why. From the moment that I watched those movies, I fell in love with Draco Malfoy. I did. Loved him because I love my mean boy and my tortured boy, and he is the definition of mean and tortured, and he's just boy. And as I grew up, I read fan fictions of Draco Malfoy. Problem is I don't remember any of them, but I love them all. Now, I'm pretty sure he's gonna stay in the 8 area, because when I read Manacled and like the published Draco Malfoy fan fictions and like the more popular ones, fan fiction Draco Malfoy is always like on top. I haven't read the best ones, so it's gonna be a problem for me, but like I'm gonna put Draco Malfoy there because I know if little me loved him, this me is gonna love fan fiction him. I know it. Number 7, Dorian Havillard from Throne of Glass. You will tend to notice that the last chunk of my top 7 is Throne of Glass, and Dorian Shadowhands Havillard is of course gonna be there. I love Dorian from the beginning. when he was a prince. After he went through trauma, I happened to fall for him harder. That is Dorian. He is Dorian. I don't know how to explain more except the fact that that is Dorian Haviljard. He got asked, what color do you bleed, Prince? And he said, I'll bleed whatever color you tell me to. Period! And if you know the context of when that was said, period, I shrieked. I had my book and I like, oh my God. Our sweet one, of course. You cannot pick and choose what part of her to love. That was a banger. That was a banger. And if you didn't know, Kale Westfall, his best friend quote of the guy he loves, our closeted lovers, is Dorian Haviljard. And yeah, he clocked Kale's shit with that quote. He's so damn real and he's so damn shadow hands. You don't understand, he has shadow hands. He's Dorian Haviljard, guys. Like, come on. Number 6, who aggressively moved up my book boyfriend list because I have been going down a rabbit hole of quotes from him. And as I said, I'm an easy woman, and he moved up in the last week. Lorcan Salvatore from Throne of Glass. He's a side character that I fell for, and I cannot tell you why. Probably because he is so angry boy and very mean in the beginning. I'm just like, and then when Angry Boy gets nice and has a soft spot for his woman and I hate everybody but her, take my money! Take my money. He breaks my heart. He genuinely does. He's such an amazing side character that does not get nearly enough love. Lorcan was awful, and then he was good, and then he was better, and then he was Lorcan, and we don't know what Lorcan did. We don't know what Lorcan did. We had a fade to black moment, and I think about that fade to black moment every single day of my life. I really do. But he did say before everything faded to black, as far as anyone's concerned, you're still my wife, and he said it with a freaking punch. They got into a fight, and he was like, I don't care. I don't care. You're still my wife. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. Whatever you say, girl. And then he broke down and he said, ask me to stay. And then he said, ask me to marry you. Right now? Marry me? He was so good. And just the way that his relationship built was so beautiful and had so much depth. And seeing his walls break down was one of the most beautiful stories that I read that wasn't like the main Throne of Glass like couples and characters. I don't know how Sarah J Maas did that. I don't know how she gave so much life to characters who are not the main point of the story, but she did, and I am weak for it. Even weaker for number 5! You know him. You love him. Kai Azar, baby! Don't hate me because he's number 5, but Kai Azar, baby! Do you know how hard it was to only include 2 quotes from this man? When all he spits is poetry. He talks in soliloquies. I don't know. If this man was a rapper, he would make bangers. I'm just saying. He'd drop bars. He'd be spitting bars the entire time. He's not a rapper though. He's Kai Azar, the prince, the enforcer, the lover. I promise you I'm much more fun tied up. Period! Get me some rope. Why did he say that? You're an YA book, baby. Did nobody teach you that there are restrictions to young adult literature? So why are you pulling up with those lines that got us adults kicking our little feet? Relax. And then he said, and I'll save your life again and again, aimlessly hoping you will allow me to stay in it. He is that man. Do you want me to spit another one from him, girl? I could read his quotes non-stop. You think I would not beg to run away with you? My duty may be to the king, but my heart pay is wherever you are. It is in the palm of your hands, the pad of your thumb. So if you leave, I will follow. If you stay, I will bow. Because there has never been a moment when you did not own the only piece of me that mattered. Loving you made me matter, and I ache to be full again. Babes is a poet. And aren't poets just fools with fancy words? Or however that goes. Yes, they are. And he's my favorite fool. I could listen to that man talk nonstop. And if you've heard the audiobook, I could listen to that man talk nonstop. I don't even know what he said in the back of my shirt. But I'd reread it nonstop. Nonstop. If you'd let me, I'd get like every single line of him tattooed across my back. Number 4, Rhysand. My first adult love. He is up there because I know that if I reread the book, I'm going to fall to my knees. Only problem is I read that book 2 years ago and slowly the memories are fading away, but I promise you he is a good man. I just can't show it because I barely remember. That's okay, because in my heart, I know that he was the first man. And in my heart, I know that when I reread the series, he might even bump up again because I did bump him down. He was my first book boyfriend, please. He's teaching this girl how to write. You know what he made her write? Rhysand is the most handsome high. Rhysand is the most handsome high lord. Period. Period. This man, you are hilarious. You are hilarious, sir. And then he said, I would have waited 500 more years for you, 1,000 years. And if this was all the time we were allowed to have, the wait was worth it. He was so good to her. He was so good to me. He's the love of my mom's life. I made her read Akatar, I did, and that is the love of her life. So she gets really mad when he's not my number one. He still has like a piece of my heart. Like Rhysand is the most handsome High Lord. Rhysand is Rhysand to the stars who listen and to the dreams that are answered. Rhysand, like to the stars who listen. Rhysand. Now here are my top three. My top three book boyfriends. These, I know them from heart. I know them from soul. I know them from everywhere. These are the top three book men so far for me. But my top two at the very least are immovable. Don't touch them. But we're gonna go number three. You know him. You probably don't know him. You love him. I don't know if you do, but I do. We have Kingfisher from Quicksilver by Callie Hart. We have one book of this man. Book 2 comes out in November. We have one book of this man, and I fell to my knees. I don't know why. Maybe it was the audiobook. The narrator for the audiobook is indeed also the narrator for Rhysand, so he's really good at his job. I folded for this man almost immediately. It's not even funny. I read half the book and I was like, great, I just met this man, number 4. And then time passed and I was like, okay, great, number 3. Kingfisher, sir. He is so shameless in the way that he speaks that it is rude. It is rude. You should not say that to a woman, but I will accept it if it's coming from your mouth, sir. Whatever you say. I used to make fun of his name. I was like, there's no way I could fall in love with a man named Kingfisher. What the fuck is that? I stand corrected. I really do. I love his name at this point. I don't even want... I'm very emotional all the time. The name is part of the plot, and I'm emotional all the time. I really do like him, and he's really hot, and he does say some things that I'm just like, wow. Can you say it again, yes or no? In the audiobook, please. My mom actually just started Quicksilver as well. I've been begging her to read it forever. So her number 1 is Rhysand. She had a list. Kai was on it. Warner was on it. Dorian was on it. Yeah. Kingfisher jumped to number 2, and she's read 3 chapters of this book. You want me to tell you why he jumped on her list? I'm about to introduce you to all 7 gods. When you meet them, don't forget to tell them I'm the one you worship on your knees. This is King, all 7 gods, Fisher. Like, this is... He could be disrespectful to me whenever he wants, I'm gonna tell you that much. This is a really mean man with a really soft, sweet spot. And I love a man that ends up with a really soft, sweet spot. And this man said, I'll be grateful for every second that I can say I belong to you. 8 years or 18 hours, it doesn't matter to me. It'll still be the highest honor of my life. He's got range. He's Kingfisher. I'm gonna reread Quicksilver. I was looking at quotes the other day. He never misses. He never misses. I wish I could give more quotes of his, but they are not. My video will get banned. It'll get blocked. Just know. Number 2. This is number 2. This is Rowan Whitethorn from Throne of Glass. Rowan Whitethorn from Throne of Glass. His love story is... wow. I've never experienced a love story with so much depth. Like, it's not just him. The way that he loves this woman has a level of depth, a level of I'd give everything and more for you, a level of you are my soulmate, you are my Karanam, if you will. You are everything to me. It is so beautiful. They've been through so much. They deserve so much more. He has so much trauma and he drops everything for her, and like he's been searching the whole world just to find her. Every quote that I read from this man, I start crying. His walls were broken down in a way that I was just floored. I didn't think I could fall in love with a love story as heavily as I did that one. Rowan Whitethorn is inexplicably amazing in every possible way. I feel like not enough people talk about him. He's not the most like outward character. Throne of Glass is also not primarily romantic series. It's primarily fantasy. He has a piece of my soul, like genuinely, like wow, what a man, like wow. And I think this is really romantic. He told her, you are worthless. You would have been more useful if you died 10 years ago. I think that is really sweet. I love a really mean man, and this man was fucking awful to her. And then he gave everything for her, and that is just so wow. Even when this world is a forgotten whisper of dust between the stars, I will love you. He did love her when the world was a forgotten whisper in the stars. The devotion that he has to that woman isn't even just like a romantic partner. It is a devotion of, this is a goddess to him. And just, wow. And one more thing Rowan did say. To whatever end. Please read Throne of Glass, guys. Please read Throne of Glass. He is, wow. Rowan. Number 1, which should come to no surprise, we have Aaron Warner Anderson. Rowan was everything. The relationship, him, Warner is for me. Warner is my soulmate. Warner is mine, me. No I love you, Juliet, I do. The romance, the way he is with you, amazing. But like, Warner, as a person, just Warner, as a non-romantic partner, Warner, I love that man so much, it's not even funny. I don't even know why. I'm obsessed with this man. It's actually a problem. He might call the cops on me. I will never stop talking about Aaron Warner Anderson. I will never. It's fucking Warner. It's fucking Warner. It's Warner. Like, I literally have his head. My favorite quote. Everyone's favorite quote. Lift your hips for me, love. Sat! Whatever you say. Whatever you say. Whatever you say. This man is the definition of YA has restrictions. You're not listening. You're not listening to the YA restrictions. You're actually not even just stepping over the border. You have crossed to the other side. Like, you are way past what should be allowed. I love you. I love you. Don't stop being you, my baby. I don't know how he could. He's such a dynamic character. He can be, but he could also be, and he did that in this one quote, okay? It's a really long. I want all of you. I want you inside and out and catching your breath and aching for me like I ache for you. It's never been a secret. I've never tried to hide that from you. I've never pretended I wanted anything less. I want to be the friend you fall hopelessly in love with, the one you take into your arms and into your bed and into the private worlds you keep trapped in your head, the one who will memorize the things you say as well as the shape of your lips when you say them. I want to know every curve, every freckle, every shiver of your body, period. How was he sweet and sexy at the same damn time? Have you met Aaron Warner Anderson? Have you met this man? This man should be everyone's number one. What a man. He is the love of my life, guys. He is the love of my life. I could go on and on about him, so I'm just gonna cut myself off right now because it's Aaron Warner Anderson. That is enough said. My list is constantly changing because I'm very indecisive, but I'm very weak. So on my knees I fall every single time he opens his mouth. If you see my Kindle highlights, every single time man shows up on the page, it's like fully highlighted. I'm not even kidding. I'm just a girl. I think that's enough said. Like, these are my book boyfriends and I'm just a girl. Thank you so much for watching. I hope I didn't disappoint you, but I can assure you these men won't. If you want to read about them, but they're mine. Just letting you know, okay? If you have any more recommendations for book boyfriends that I should be adding to my list, drop them below because I will be reading them. And subscribe if you want to hear me talk more about these men and more about books and more about these men and these book boyfriends. Thank you so much for watching and I love Aaron Warner.